Welcome to Mitchell Maths. In this video we're going to have a look at factorising quadratics. In order to understand what we need to do when we factorise, first we need to look at what happens when we expand the brackets. X times x is x squared, x times plus 3 is plus 3x, 5 times x is plus 5x, and 5 times 3 is plus 15. We can simplify this because the two middle terms add together, which gives us x squared plus 8x plus 15. Right, let's have a look at 5 and 3. Well, if we look at the final term, plus 15, we can see that 5 and 3 multiply together to give that term. When we expand the brackets, the last thing we do is 5 times 3, which gives us the number at the end. So I'll just write multiply under that. If we look at the middle term, plus 8x, well, 5 and 3, we can see they add together to make 8, and that's because when we do x times 3, it gives us 3x. And when we do 5 times x, it gives us 5x. And then when we simplify, we add those two things together. And therefore, the number in the middle, these two numbers must add to make that. And when we're factorising, that's going to really help us work out what needs to go in the brackets. In this video, we're going to mostly have a look at double brackets. We are going to have a look, and the way we work out if it's a double bracket or not is if it has an x squared, an x and a number, then it's going to be double brackets, usually 3 terms. If it has 2 terms, it's usually going to be single brackets in most cases. However, there are exceptions to this, and we will look at one of those exceptions towards the end of the video. I've just wrote out some steps just to help. So step 1 is work out the signs. I need to work out what signs are in the brackets. Is it going to be 2 positives, 2 negatives, a plus and a minus? Well, if I have a look at it multiplies to make a positive. That means it can be either 2 positives or 2 negatives. It adds to make a positive, which means that it must be a plus and a plus. So you look at what it multiplies to make, and then you look at what it adds to make, if you need to. That's step 1. Step 2 is to work out the possible factor pairs. What this means is the numbers that multiply together to make 12. Well, we can have 1 and 12, we can have 3 and 4, or we can have 2 and 6. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add these different pairs of numbers together and see which ones add to make the correct value of 7. Well, 1 plus 12 is 13. 3 plus 4 is 7. Therefore, I know the numbers that go in these brackets must be x plus 3 and x plus 4. And it doesn't matter which order I write in. I can write x plus 4, x plus 3, or I can write x plus 3, x plus 4. It doesn't make any difference. So that is my final answer. Right, the next question is x squared, factorise x squared minus 8x plus 16. Again, I'm going to need to work out the signs. What's it going to be? I'm going to go to, so it multiplies to make a positive. That means it must be either 2 positives or 2 negatives. It adds to give a negative, so that means it must be a minus and a minus. So that's my first step. The second step is going to be work out the possible factor pairs, so the pairs of numbers that multiply to give 16. Well, I could have 1 or 16. I could have 4 or 4. I could have 2 or 8. And I need to put them in the, see which ones add to make minus 8. Remember, both the numbers are going to be negative because it's a minus in the brackets. Minus 1 minus 16 is minus 17, so it can't be that. minus 4 is minus 8. So it's going to be x minus 4 in the brackets. Right, so that's that one. Right, the next one is factorise x squared minus 4x minus 45. And we're going to need to work out the signs. So like before, we're going to have a look at what it multiplies to make, which is minus 45. Now, because that's a negative, it means one of the signs is going to have to be a plus, and one of the signs is going to have to be a minus. And we don't, in this case, because we know it's a plus or a minus, that's the only possible thing it can be. We don't need to have a look at what it adds to make yet. So I'll put a plus and a minus in there. Step 2 is to work out the possible pairs of factors which can make 45. So I can have 1 or 45. I can have 9 or 5. And I can have 15 and 3. That's step 2. And the final step is I need to find the correct factor pair, which will add to make minus 4. Because one is positive and one is negative, we're actually going to take them away. Therefore, we need to find the difference between each of the pairs of numbers. 45 take away 1 is 44. Can't be that. 9 take away 5 is 4. Okay, it must be this factor pair here. We then need to work out which one is going to be negative and which one is going to be positive. Now, because it adds to make a minus number, that means the 9, which is the bigger of the two numbers, is going to need to be the negative number, and 5 is going to need to be positive. Because minus 9 plus 5 is minus 4. So that is our final answer. We're now going to have a look at one of the exceptions, which is factorise x squared minus 14. This is only 2 terms, but it still is a double bracket. And this happens when you have x squared minus a square number, which in this case is 49. And because it multiplies to make a negative, we know it's going to be a plus and a minus in the brackets. And we know that 7 and 7 make 49. The reason there's no middle term is because plus 7 minus 7 is 0. And that's why you don't get, you can't get 0x because that'd just be 0. Therefore, we've got x plus 7, x minus 7. So just remember that. If you see x squared, take away a negative number, it's going to be x plus and x minus whatever the square root of that number is. In this case, square root of 49 is 7, but it could be like x squared minus 25. In that case, it would be x plus 5, x minus 5. So do have a look out for that one because it does catch a few people out. The final one we're going to have a look at, this is actually a single bracket, and the reason we know it's a single bracket is because it's only got 2 terms, and it's not x squared take away a square number. The first thing we need to do is we need to have a look at what factor is common in both. Well, that's going to be x, so we're going to have x outside the brackets, and we need to find the 2 terms inside the brackets which are going to multiply by x to give us this x squared and minus 5x. Well, x needs to be multiplied by x to give us x squared, and in order to get minus 5x, we need to multiply x by minus 5. And that's our final answer for that one. So just remember to watch out for, do you need to single brackets and double brackets? And also make sure you get the signs right, and just remember the steps. Right, thank you for watching. I hope you found that helpful. If you liked the video, remember to give it a like and subscribe for more videos.